All right, today we're jumping into a really powerful story. It's a simple little tale, but man, it has a deep message. It's called The Parable of the Happiest Bird. So the story kicks off with this direct challenge, and it's aimed right at us. It says, if you're not satisfied with your life, then watch this. I mean, who hasn't felt that at some point, right? That little nagging feeling. This story promises a new way to look at things, and it all starts with one very, very unhappy bird.
So meet our main character, a crow, and he is at his absolute lowest. We find him just sitting on a branch, completely drowning in misery, thinking his life is totally worthless. And we're not just talking about a bad day here, you know? This is a deep, heavy kind of unhappiness that's really settled in.
He's crying so hard that his tears actually fall on a monk who's meditating under the tree. The monk looks up and just asks, "What's wrong?" And wow, the crow just lets it all out. He says, "No one loves me. People shoo me away. Everyone hates me." He's so deep in despair that he actually says death would be better than this life. Just imagine feeling that invisible, that unwanted. Now the monk, being a compassionate guy, could have just rattled off some easy advice, right? Cheer up or something. But no, he does something way more interesting. He gives the crow a challenge, a quest, really, a mission to find out what happiness actually is for himself.
The crow, without even hesitating, says, "I want to be a beautiful swan." And the monk says, "Okay, I can do that, but on one condition." And here's the catch. The crow has to go and find a swan and prove for sure that it's the happiest bird in the world. So, with that mission in mind, our crow takes off.
And so he flies off, completely convinced this is going to be easy. I mean, in his mind, the swan is perfect. It's got these pure white feathers, it's so graceful, it's literally everything he thinks he isn't. Sure enough, he finds a swan just gliding on a pond, and he's just blown away. You can feel the envy coming off him as he says, "You're as white as milk. Everyone loves you. You have to be the happiest bird in the whole world."
But then, the swan's answer just throws him for a loop. The swan says, "Nope, not happy. I've only got one color. It's kind of boring, actually." It turns out the swan thinks true happiness belongs to the bird with all the colors, the parrot. So the crow is a little confused, right? But he's not giving up. He's thinking, okay, so it's not about being white and graceful. It's about being colorful and flashy. So he changes course and flies off to find this amazing parrot.
He finds the parrot, and it's the same routine. "You're so incredibly colorful, you must be the happiest bird ever." But nope, the parrot has a secret problem. It lives in constant fear because its beautiful colors make humans want to catch it and stick it in a cage. The parrot says, if you want to find the happiest bird, you need to find the peacock. That's the magnificent one.
All right, so now the crow's journey leads him to a zoo. And there he is, the peacock. And at first glance, it looks like this is finally it. This bird is the undeniable star of the show. I mean, we're talking a whole other level of famous. There are literally hundreds of people gathered around just to get a look at this peacock. For our little crow who's used to being shooed away, this must look like the absolute dream. This has got to be the one, right? So the crow waits until all the people leave, and then he goes up to the peacock, totally sure he's cracked the code. Well, what the peacock says next is, well, it's just heartbreaking. He says that his beauty isn't a gift, it's a cage. He's trapped in the zoo because he's so beautiful. And no, my friend, he is not happy. So, let's recap. The swan, not happy. The parrot, scared all the time. And now the peacock, the most beautiful of them all, is miserable. Everything the crow thought he knew is just gone. If none of these birds are happy, then who in the world could be? And then the peacock drops a bombshell. He says he's watched all the other birds and he's realized something huge. The crow is the only bird that he sees that isn't trapped in a cage. The peacock looks right at him and says that he wishes he had the crow's freedom. And that's it. That's the moment it all clicks into place for our crow. He flies back to the monk, but this time there are no tears. For the very first time, he's actually happy just to be a crow. He finally gets it. He's free from the comparison trap. And what the crow went through, well, it shines a light on a huge problem for us too. It's called the comparison trap. You know the one. It's that endless, vicious cycle where we look at other people, assume they've got it better, and just make ourselves miserable in the process. We're always focused on what we don't have instead of what we do. So what can we learn from all this? A few big things. First, there will always be someone with more and someone with less. That chase is endless. True satisfaction, true happiness, it's an inside job. It doesn't come from what you don't have. And really, if you're constantly comparing, you're just never going to be happy. The happiest person is the one who's good with what they've got.
So he goes back to the monk, a completely different bird. He doesn't want to be a swan anymore. He doesn't want to be anyone else. He's found this incredible peace in just being himself. He says, I don't want to be anything else. I am fine as I am.
And that really leaves us with one last big question to think about. The crow found his freedom, his happiness, the second he stopped looking at other birds and wishing he was them. So the question for you is, who could you be? What incredible potential could you unlock if you just stopped comparing?